Database Programming Introduction. We will discuss the following topics in this chapter. The design of JDBC, the structured query language, JDBC installation, basic JDBC programming concept, query execution, scrollable and updatable result set, metadata, row set, and transactions. The design of JDBC. Classification of JDBC driver. The JDBC specification classifies drivers into the following types. A type 1 driver translates JDBC to ODBC and depends on an ODBC driver to communicate with the database. Half of a type 2 driver is written in Java and rests in native code. It communicates with the client API of a database. A type 3 driver is a pure Java client library. It uses a database independent protocol to communicate database requests to a server component which translates the request into a database specific protocol. A type 4 driver is a pure Java library that translates JDBC request directly to a database specific protocol. Goal of JDBC. Programmers can pen down applications in the Java programming language to access to any database using standard SQL statements while still following Java language conventions. Database vendors and database tool vendors can supply the low-level drivers. Thus, they can optimize their drivers for their specific products. Typical uses of JDBC. The traditional client-server model has a rich GUI on the client and a database on the server. In the three-tier model, the client never makes database calls. It calls on a middleware layer on the server that in turn makes the database queries. It separates visual representation on the client from the business logic in the middle tier and the raw data in the database. Communication between the client and the middle tier can occur through HTTP when you use a web browser as the client or another mechanism such as remote method invocation. The Java Enterprise Edition defines a structure for application servers. These application servers manage code modules called Enterprise Java Beans. It provides valuable services such as load balancing, request catching, security, and object relational mapping. The structured query language. JDBC allows communication with the databases using SQL, which is the command language for essentially all modern relational databases. The JDBC package is an API for communicating SQL statements to databases. A database is a bunch of named tables with rows and columns. Each column has a column name. Each row contains a set of related data. Figure the result of joining this table with the publisher table. Not only the books but also the publishers table contain an identifier for the publisher. When we combine both tables on the publisher code, we obtain a query result made up of values from the joined tables. Each row in the result contains the information about a book which possesses the details about the publisher name and web page URL. One must be aware of the publisher names. URLs are duplicated across several rows because we have several rows with the same publisher. Joining tables has a benefit of avoiding unnecessary duplication of data in the database tables. SQL usage of query is written out in text by using SQL syntax. For instance, select books.title, books.publisher_id, books.price, publishers.name, publishers.url. From books, publishers, where books.publishers_id equal to publishers.publisher_id. To select all rows in the books table, select star from books. The from class tells the database which table to examine to find the data. Select ISBN, price, title from books. Restrict the rows in the answer with the where class. Select ISBN, price, title from books where price less than or equal to 29.95. The where class can also use pattern matching by means of the like operator. Use a % for 0 or more characters and an underscore for a single character. Select ISBN, price, title from book where title not like %n underscore %. Excludes books with titles that contain words such as Unix or Linux. A pair of single quotes represent single quote inside a string quotes. Select title from books where title like %. To select data from multiple tables, select star from books, publishers. To constrain the query to say that we are only interested in matching books with their publishers, select star from books, publishers where books.publisher underscore ID equal to publishers.publisher underscore ID. To change the data inside a database, update books, set price equal to price minus 5 where title like %C++%. To delete, use a delete query. Delete from books where title like %C++%. To insert values into a table, you can use the insert statement. Insert into book values a guide to the SQL standard 0-201-96426-0, 0201, 47.95. To create a new table, create table books, open bracket, title char of 60, ISBN char of 13, publisher underscore ID char of 6, price decimal of 10, 2, bracket closed. The following table shows the common SQL data types. JDBC installation. Discussion is demanded to configure the JDBC before writing the database program. Database URLs. When connecting to a database, you must use various database specific parameters such as host names, port numbers and database names. JDBC uses syntax similar to that of ordinary URLs to describe data sources. JDBC:/localhost:1527/ core create equal to true. JDBC:/post GRESQL: core Java. The general syntax is JDBC: subprotocol: other stuff. When a subprotocol selects a specific driver for connecting to the database, the format for the other stuff parameter depends on the subprotocol used. Driver jar files. Jar file has the driver for database, hence you need to obtain it. While running a program that accesses the database, include the driver jar file on the class path. When you launch programs from the command line, simply use the command java-class path driver path : program name. Starting the database. The database server needs to be started before you can connect to it. The details depend on the database. With the Derby database, adapt these steps. Open a command shell and change to a directory that has the database files. With some versions of the JDK, locate the file derbyrun.jar which is contained in the jdk/db/lib directory, with others in a separate Java DB installation directory. We denote the directory containing lib/derbyrun.jar with derby. Run the command java-jar derby/lib/derbyrun.jar server start. Double check whether the database is working correctly or not. Create a file ij.properties that contains these files. ij.driver equal to org.apache.derby.jdbc.client driver. ij.protocol equal to jdbc:/localhost:1527. ij.database equal to core Java. Create equal to true. From another command shell, run Derby's interactive scripting tool called IJ by executing java-jar derby/lib/derbyrun.jar ij-p ij.properties. Issuing of SQL commands such as is made possible. Create table greetings, message, character of 20. Insert into greetings, values, hello world. Select star from greetings. Drop table greetings. Note that each command must be terminated by a semicolon. To exit, type exit. When you are done using the database, stop the server with the command java-jar derby/lib/derbyrun.jar server shutdown. Registering the driver class. Many JDBC jar files, such as Derby driver included with Java AC7, automatically register the driver class. A jar file can automatically register the driver class if it contains a file meta-inf/services/java.sql.driver. The following given are the two ways to register the driver with the driver manager. Load the driver class in your Java program. For example, class.forName of org.postgresql.driver ports loading of driver class. Set the JDBC drivers property with a command line argument such as java-d jdbc.drivers equal to org.postgresql.driver program name. Application can set the system property with a call such as system.setProperty of jdbc.drivers, org.postgresql.driver. Multiple drivers can be supplied. Separate them with colons such as org.postgresql.driver org.apache.derby.jdbc.client driver. How to connect the database. Open a database connection like this. String URL equal to jdbc:/postgresql:/core Java. String username equal to dbuser. String password equal to secret. Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection of URL, username, password. The driver manager iterates through the registered drivers to find a driver that can use a subprotocol specified in the database URL. The getConnection method returns a connection object. In order to connect to the database, username and password are very much essential. Sample database properties. jdbc.drivers equal to org.postgresql.driver. jdbc.url equal to jdbc:/postgresql:/core Java. jdbc.username equal to dbuser. jdbc.password equal to secret. After connecting to the database, the test program in next slide executes the following SQL statements. Create table greetings of message char of 20. Insert into greetings values hello world. Select star from greetings. The result of the select statement is printed hello world. Then the table is removed by executing the statement. Drop table greetings. To run this test, start your database as described previously and launch the program as java-classpath::driver jar test.testdb. Query execution. Prepared statements. The user launches such a query for building a separate query statement. Every time we can prepare a query with a host variable and use it many times, each time filling in a different string for the variable. Whenever the database executes a query, it first computes a strategy of how to do it efficiently. By preparing the query and reusing it, you ensure that the planning step is done only once. Each host variable in a prepare query is indicated with a question mark. SQL query. Select books.price, books.title from books, publishers, where books.publisher_id equal to publishers.publisher_id and publishers.name equal to the name from the list box. Becomes string publisher query equal to select books.price, books.title plus from books, publishers plus where books.publisher_id equal to publishers.publisher_id and publishers.name equal to question mark. Prepare statement stat equal to con.prepare statement of publisher query. To set a string to a publisher name, st80.setString of 1, publisher. The first argument is the position number of the host variable which we want to set. The position 1 denotes the first. The second argument is the value that we want to assign to the host variable. To execute the prepare statement, result set rs equal to st80.execute query of. Reading and writing large objects. Besides numbers, strings and dates, many databases can store large objects like images or other data. In SQL, binary large objects are called BLOB and character large objects are called CLOBs. To read a LOB, execute a select statement and call the getBLOB or getCLOB method on the result set. You will get an object of type BLOB or CLOB. To get the binary data from a BLOB, call the getBytes or getBinary stream. In CLOB object, we can get character data by calling the getSubstring or getCharacterStream method. Prepare statement st80 equal to con.prepare statement of select cover from book covers where ISBN equal to question mark. st80.set of 1, ISBN. Result set result equal to stat.execute query of. If result dot next of open bracket BLOB cover BLOB equal to result dot get BLOB of 1. Image cover image equal to image IO dot read of cover BLOB dot get binary stream of bracket close. To keep a LOB into the database, call create BLOB or create CLOB on your connection object. Get an output stream or writer to the LOB, write the data and store the object in the database. BLOB cover BLOB equal to connection dot create BLOB of integer offset equal to 0. Output stream out equal to cover BLOB dot set binary stream of offset. Image IO dot write of cover image comma PNG comma out. Prepare statement stat equal to con dot prepare statement of insert into cover values question mark comma question mark. Stat dot set of 1, ISBN. Stat dot set of 2, cover BLOB. Stat dot execute update of. SQL escapes. It is the job of the JDBC driver to translate the escape syntax to the syntax of a particular database. Escapes are provided for the following features: date and time literals, calling escape functions, calling stored procedures, outer joins, and the escape character in like class. Scalar function is a function that returns a single value. To call a function, embed the standard function name and arguments like this: fn left of question mark comma 20, fn user of. When a procedure executes in the database, it is known as a stored procedure written in a database specific language. To call a store procedure, use the call escape. Use equal to capture a return value. Call proc1 of question mark comma question mark. Call proc2. Call question mark equal to proc3 of question mark. Multiple results. Possibilities lies for a query results in multiple. To retrieve all result sets, use the execute method to execute the SQL statement. Retrieve the first result or update count. Repeatedly call the getMoreResults method to move on to the next result set. Finish when there is no more result sets or update counts. The execute and getMoreResults methods return true if the next item in the chain is a result set. The getUpdateCount method returns -1 if the next item in the chain is not an update count. Retrieving auto-generated keys. Some mechanisms are supported by most databases for auto-numbering rows in a database. These automatic numbers are often used as primary keys. While inserting a new row into a table, a key is automatically generated You can retrieve it with the following code: statement.execute update of insert statement, statement dot return underscore generated underscore keys. Result set rs equal to stmt dot get generated keys of. If rs dot next of open bracket integer key equal to rs dot get integer of 1 bracket close. Scrollable and updatable result sets. The next method of the result set interface iterates over the rows in a result set. In a scrollable result, you can move front and back through a result set and even jumps to any position. You can programmatically update entries, which in turn automatical updation of database in an updatable result set. Scrollable result sets. Due to its default, result sets are not scrollable or updatable. To obtain scrollable result sets from your queries, you must obtain a different statement object with the method statement stat equal to con.create statement of type, concurrency. For a prepare statement, use the call prepare statement stat equal to con.prepare statement of command, type, concurrency. The following table shows the result set type values and result set concurrency values. For example, if one is particular in scrolling through a result set without editing its data, the following can be used. Statement stat equal to con.create statement of result set dot type underscore scroll underscore insensitive result set dot concur underscore read underscore only. This method calls return all result set. Result set rs equal to stat dot execute query of query are now scrollable. A scrollable result set has a cursor which indicates the current position. To scroll backward, if rs dot previous of. To move the cursor backward or forward by a number of rows with the call rs dot relative of n. If n is positive, the cursor moves forward. If n is negative, it moves backward. If n is 0, the call has no effect. To set the cursor to a particular row number, rs dot absolute of n. To get the current row number, call integer current row equal to rs dot get row of. The first row in the result set has number 1. If the return value is 0, the cursor is not currently on a row. The methods first, last, before first and after last move the cursor to the first, to the last, before the first or after the last position. Finally, the methods is first, is last, is before first and is after last test whether the cursor is at one of these special positions. Updatable result set. To edit the result set data and have the alteration automatically reflected in the data, creation of an updatable result set ought to be done. Statement stat equal to con.create statement of result set dot type underscore scroll underscore insensitive, result set dot concur underscore updatable. The result set returned by a call to execute query are then updatable. The update triplex method changes only the row values, not the database. The update row method sends all updates in the current row of the database. Call the cancel row updates method to cancel the updates to the current row. Example to modify an existing row. rs dot move to insert row. rs dot update string of title, title. rs dot update string of isbn, isbn. rs dot update string of publisher underscore id, pub id. rs dot update double of price, price. rs dot insert row of. rs dot move to current row of. To delete the row under the cursor, rs dot delete row of. The delete row method immediately removes the row from both the result set and database. The update row, insert row and delete row methods of the result set interface give you the same power as executing the update row, insert row and delete row methods of the result set interface give you the same power as executing update, insert and delete SQL statements. Row sets. Though the row set interface extends the result set interface, row sets don't have to be necessarily tied to a database connection. Row sets are also suitable if you need to move a query result to a different tier of a complex application or to another device such as a cell phone. Constructing row sets. The javax.sql.rowset package provides the following interfaces that extend the row set interface. A catch row set permits disconnected operation. A web row set is a catch row set. It can be saved to an XML file. The XML file can be transferred to another tier of a web application where it is opened by another web row set object. The filtered row set and joined row set interfaces join together to support lightweight operations on row sets that are equivalent to SQL select and join operations. These operations are performed on the data stored in row sets without having to make a database connection. A JDBC row set is a thin wrapper layer lying around a result set. It serves useful getters and setters from the row set interface, turning a result set into a bean. The standard way for obtaining a row set factory equal to row set provider dot new factory of catch row set CRS equal to factory dot create catch row set of catch row sets. A catch row set incubes all data from a result set. In a catch row set, we can close the connection and continue to use the row set. To populate a catch row set from a result set result equal to catch row set CRS equal to new com dot sun dot row set dot catch row set CRS equal to new com dot sun dot row set dot catch row set IMPL of, or use an implementation from your database vendor CRS dot populate of result con dot close of. Now OK to close the database connection. To set up the database parameters, CRS dot set URL of JDBC /derby /localhost /1527/core Java. CRS dot set username of DB user. CRS dot set password of secret. Set the query statement and any parameters. CRS dot set command of select star from books where publisher equal to question mark. CRS dot set string of 1, publisher name. Populate the row set with a query result. CRS dot execute of. This call establishes the database connection, issues the query, populates the row set and disconnect. Metadata. JDBC offers an additional information about the structure of a database and its tables. Structural information is holistically useful for programmers who write tools which work with any database. In SQL, data that describe the database or one of its parts are called metadata. To find out more about the database, one must request an object of type database metadata from the database connection. Database metadata meta equal to con.get metadata of. For example, result set mrs equal to meta.get tables of null, new string array of table. It returns a result set that contains information about all tables in the database. The database metadata interface gives data about the database. Result set metadata reports information about a result set. Result set mrs equal to stat.execute query of select star from table name. Result set metadata meta equal to mrs.get metadata of. For integer I equal to 1, I less than or equal to meta.get column count of I++, open bracket, string column name equal to meta.get column label of I, integer column width equal to meta.get column display size of I, bracket closed. Transactions. One can combine a set of statements to form a transaction. The transaction can be committed when everything functions well, or else if an error occurs in one of them, it can be rolled back as if none of the statements has been issued. The major reason for grouping statements into transactions is database integrity. If you group update statements into a transaction, the transaction either succeeds in its entirely or it fails somewhere in the mid. In such case, one can carry out a rollback, then the database automatically goes back to the effect of all updates that has occurred since the last committed transaction. If a database connection is in auto commit mode, by default, each SQL statement is committed to the database as soon as it is executed. Having committed a statement, you cannot roll it back. To turn off this default, con.set auto commit off false. To commit, con.commit off. To roll back, con.rollback off. Save point. Creation of save point marks a point to which you can later return without having to leave the whole transaction. Example, statement stat equal to con.create statement of. Start transaction, rollback goes here. State.execute update of command 1. Save point svpt equal to con.set save point of. Set save point, rollback of svpt goes here. State.execute update of command 2. If con.rollback of svbt, undo effect of command 2. Con.commit off. When you no longer need a save point, you should release it. Con.release save point of svpt. Batch updates. A sequence of statements is collected and submitted as a batch in a batch update. The statements in a batch can do actions not only insert, update or delete, but also data definition statements such as create table or drop table. An exception is thrown if you add a select statement to a batch. To execute a batch, first create a statement object in the usual way. Statement stat equal to con.create statement of. String command equal to create table. Stat dot add batch of command. While open bracket command equal to insert into values. Stat dot add batch of command. Bracket close. Finally submits the entire batch. Integer array counts equal to stat dot execute batch of. Treat the batch as a single transaction. First turn the auto commit mode off, then collect the batch, execute it, commit it, and finally restore the original auto commit mode. Boolean auto commit equal to con.get auto commit off. Con.set auto commit off false. Statement stat equal to con.get statement of. Stat dot execute batch of. Con.commit off. Con.set auto commit off auto commit. Keep calling stat dot add batch of. Advanced SQL types. A SQL array is a series and sequence of values. Row ID describes the location of a row so that it can be retrieved very rapidly. A national character string nchar and its variants stores strings in a local character encoding and sorts them using a local sorting convention. Some databases provide native storage for XML data. The following table shows the SQL data types and their corresponding